Hi, thanks so much for watching. This is our new video series from Protera entitled Managing SAP During Uncertain Times, where we're featuring our leadership and talking about our customers and also how we at Protera are reacting and also being proactive in order to keep SAP businesses running. Today, I have with us our Chief Product Officer, Alan Manuel, and our Senior Vice President of Application Delivery Management, Binoy James.
Thanks, Jamie. This is Alan Manuel, and thank you for all in the audience for taking the time out. I know everyone has a lot on their minds, but thank you for taking the time out today to spend a few minutes with us and talk about managing SAP during uncertain times. Joined today by Binoy James, our Senior Vice President of Delivery for Protera. Welcome, Binoy.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Jamie.
Binoy, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do, what your organization does for Protera and for customers?
Yeah. So, Alan, I run the delivery operations team here at Protera. Together with my team, we manage multiple service centers with pretty much hundreds of team members dispersed globally. We do manage multiple data centers as well, US and international. That includes local hands, as well as manage a large presence for our customers in the leading public clouds. Um, in addition to that, we manage our customers' requests, services, expectations, and address any issues that come up for our customers.
Great. Now, Binoy, you have a large responsibility at Protera and to Protera's customers. On top of that, many things are changing. And the first thing I want to ask you is, tell me about your own personal work style. On top of everything else, now you find yourself maybe in a new environment. You're not in your office. You might be in your home, your basement. Tell us a little bit about you as a tech exec. How are you managing to stay productive during these times?
That's a great question, Alan. Protera has always supported online work habits due to business travel and customer meetings. There's a necessity to travel and attend to most of our work remotely. Personally, the reduction in commute times has given me some additional time on my hands. I have established a morning ritual that begins with setting predefined periods of work time in my daily schedule, as well as allowing for break times during the day to spend time to take care of the family and make sure we can get some relaxation in as well.
Great. Now, a role like yours, managing a global team, you're really running things around the clock. So tell me, in your role, what's a typical day like? And I know it's not a 9 to 5 or 8 to 6 day, it's a 24-hour day. Tell me a little bit about how that 24-hour day works and a little bit of how you manage to keep that cycle going, again, with all the changes that are really impacting teams around the world.
Yeah. Typically, with the global delivery team, you're absolutely right. It is a 24/7 job. Both my team and my direct reports are managing hundreds of people across the world that have predefined responsibilities and customer expectations. Usually start the morning with a quick briefing. I review all overnight customer escalations and issues, especially in this time and this situation. I do a quick review of developments related to the coronavirus in each of our regional centers. Each of our centers came up with their local and government restrictions at different times as the situation hit those regions. And we had to adapt and direct the workforce in those regions to adapt those measures. So, given our large customer base on the public cloud as well, multiple times a day, we're constantly reviewing any directives that come from our partners, our public cloud partners, and address any impacts that result from that as
So
well.
in addition to everything else, you actually have added on to your list of concerns or things to worry about is actually the physical health and safety of your employees, as well as, I mean, you must always have been aware and compliant with local regulations and policies, but as you mentioned, that must be even more acute now as these things are changing and have much more severe impacts literally on the daily lives of your workforce.
Absolutely. Our employees are number one. We do everything possible to make sure their personal and family situations are taken care of. We have provided multiple possibilities for working from home, whether it's providing home internet, tools and capabilities inside the house, and assuring that they can stay and be part of their family, take care of their family as well.
Any other specific tips? For example, use of video conferencing. I'm sure that is you tell them to do that more. Any other specific tips for those who are like yourself, maybe engaged with global teams and trying to be as productive as possible during this time?
Yeah, I think very early on in our cycle, we went virtual, whether it's using the tools that are available virtually, the ticketing systems, the automation, and the knocks are all virtual in the Protera world. So really, the ability to address, triage, and resolve issues on the fly has been a core principle that we've adopted, many years ago. So our teams are fully able to work with little to no impact to our customer base virtually. Some of the other tips I personally follow, and I share with my direct reports are, to really focus on the goals and not so much the activity and the tasks for the team. We typically set clear expectations and trust the team to do their job. We ensure that the tool sets, like I talked about, the virtual tool sets are available and run in a stable fashion so that there's no disruption that occur for our teams. Engage regularly. It's very important. The teams need to be, even though they're working from home and are probably remote, they need to feel they're part of something bigger and they are participating in a team effort. And then my favorite is always to video conference, make sure people see each other, and keep that the feeling and the kind of high touch effort that comes with the video conferencing.
Right. Now, you mentioned customer base. Let's turn now to talk about that. I know you spend a lot of your time on the phone talking to CIOs. And before we talk about what you're doing differently to serve them, tell me a little bit about more of what are they seeing? What are they calling you up and saying, hey, Binoy, these are some of the things I need to do now that I wasn't doing before. I need to do them with a different priority. What are some of the things that they are doing to react to support their business users during this time?
Yeah, and thank you for that question, Alan. That's a very important question. As you know, Protera provides a bevy of services for our customers, primarily SAP management and hosting, recovery as a service, and a variety of digital transformation initiatives and projects. CIOs typically, especially in this time, are most concerned about business continuity. There's a variety of customers that have called us, both existing and new customers, and these are customers that perhaps may not have uh, given the appropriate priority to their business continuity plans. So, where we have customers that are working with Protera already, they have asked and inquired about our business continuity plans, both for Protera systems as well as their own systems. And these are plans that we engage with our customers regularly. We do annual tests. We do full failover to the DR site or recovery site and fall back. All of these procedures are done on an annual basis with our customers. More and more customers are calling us to find out how quickly they can engage with us on standing up recovery as a service options for their existing on-premise landscapes, and that's a big ask from customers, in this situation. Another common ask is network connectivity. More and more, as states clamp down and governments are forcing employees to work from home, the ability to connect to their corporate network and experience and be able to experience both at the customer level and the user interface level the same response times and bandwidth capabilities from their home is a major challenge. You see it in the news. A lot of network vendors and providers are struggling with this challenge. We have a variety of different service providers engaged using primary, secondary, and other alternative backup plans to make sure that our customers are not impacted from any of the connectivity issues.
Okay, great. And of course, what we're talking here is about keeping the customer's core information systems, including SAP, functioning during this very, very critical time when many business processes are changing, but the need for those business processes is really more critical than ever. You talked about business continuity and about customers perhaps who've already chosen Protera and how they are depending on Protera during this time, as well as customers who are looking for perhaps to increase their business continuity capability, maybe turning to Protera and looking maybe with a renewed urgency on what some of those options are. On the connectivity side, I imagine the need to provision additional bandwidth and additional connectivity to support all of these suddenly remote workers must be high on the customer's mind. What about maybe more longer-term concerns or initiatives, maybe any kind of project? So, for example, in a typical day, customers might be thinking about their longer-term plans for SAP digital transformation. Yeah. Have you seen any change in the concerns for customers or perhaps the drivers for digital transformation? Is that something that customers say, hey, I got more important things, or are they saying, hey, this is actually really making me think that I need to get to a more agile platform because I just don't know what the future is going to be like? What kind of impact, if any, have you seen on customers' SAP digital transformation plans?
Yeah, good question, Alan. On this front, what we've seen is, anybody who's been through a typical SAP implementation project or transformation project understands it's a lot of resources getting together to work through business blueprinting sessions, analysis sessions, and a full court press on really transforming the business to be able to operate and run on SAP. We have multiple customers today that are in the process of going through global S4 transformation, S4HANA transformation projects. They've had to really stop and re-examine their implementation approach and timeline, because we're seeing that with the travel bans and the avoidance of coming face to face with different groups of people, the ability to meet in a single place and really process and complete and work on the S4 project, it has been severely impaired.
So, Binoy, there really still is a continuing interest in moving these projects forward, but with some of the changes you mentioned, like the travel bans, for example, customers might be looking for ways to continue moving forward, but perhaps with use of more automation or use of tools that allow them to move their projects forward without having perhaps people on site, maybe through the use of collaborative tools or maybe through the use of virtual conferencing or platforms, again, that can help them move forward without necessarily having to have service experts on site. So that's I would think is a natural consequence of more restrictions on travel for the foreseeable time.
Yep.
One final one on this point, Binoy, cloud. I mean, this is an obvious one. We're all using the cloud more these days, whether it's video conferencing as we're doing now. If you have kids like I do, they're at home doing distance learning, online learning. People are, ordering things online, maybe not able to get out in person to take care of what they need to do on a daily basis. In general, what are you seeing from CIOs and their approach to just the adoption of cloud technologies during this time? What's the tone, or what are some of the inputs or reactions that you're getting from the CIOs you're talking to about just cloud in general and its applicability to SAP during this time?
Yeah. We've definitely had an increase in CIOs reaching out to see how they can move their on-premise systems to the cloud. Running, managing, and operating on-premise SAP landscape in a data center or in a co-located facility requires significant resources and effort. And given the current situation with the travel and working from home, this becomes infinitely hard for most companies and CIOs to handle. We have been doing cloud for so long, and what we tell our customers and potential customers is that we ask them to leave the operations of their SAP environment to us. We do that. We do it virtually and remotely, and we control all aspects of the stable operation of their systems. Most of the CIOs have had plans to go to the cloud in their roadmap already, but situations such as the coronavirus are raising the urgency to get this done quicker, so businesses can focus on their organizational or business transformation efforts while letting providers like Protera handle the day-to-day operations.
Okay, fantastic. Now, Binoy, you talked about several topics that come up. You talked about business continuity. You talked about the remote workforce and network connectivity. You talked about SAP digital transformation and really the overall shift to the cloud. I know we are going to be having, Jamie, I know we're going to be having another episode here where we're going to go in quite a bit more detail on how an SAP basis administrator, for example, can be taking some specific steps during this time. But can you give us an example of just one action in detail that you're doing, either in terms of reviewing business continuity plans, or looking at recovery as a service, or connectivity, or perhaps using FlexBridge, or looking at transformation? Give us an example of something that you're doing in detail, kind of more often today than you were before we were in this time period.
Yeah, I think as the warning signs grew for this epidemic that has taken over really the world, we saw the need to make sure that both the internal and customer-facing business continuity plans, not only the plans but also the execution, the systems, the tooling, the monitoring, the management of all of these systems was quickly running as stable as they could. This included a complete review of Protera's own business continuity plans, as well as all of our customers' critical business systems. So some of the steps we've taken is make sure all of the monitoring and management of these systems are in place, they are live, they are running without error. We have identified several gaps in some of the customers' business plans that needed to be touched up. We've reached out to our customers to make sure that those are in place and ready should any eventuality hit us. We have had, as I said before, we have had rapid provisioning of recovery as a service for several customers where they perhaps did not see it as an urgent need or a requirement earlier, but now, given the situation, they've asked us to really ramp up and deliver that service as a mandatory requirement for their own.
Okay, so it's a combination of being prepared, testing those plans, and being ready when a situation comes like this where you need to react quickly. But I thank you very much. One final question.
Yeah.
You are obviously running SAP and SAP-centric systems on behalf of many, many customers. Many out in the audience are running their own systems. So what tips, guidance, advice would you give for those out in the audience who are running their own SAP? They're trying to handle the changing business requirements, the changing user requirements, as well as dealing with changes to their own personal work situations like you're doing there. What are some of the tips that you might give to those audience members who are running their own SAP systems to kind of get through this time efficiently and effectively?
Absolutely. Most SAP customers are very mature and have been through several disasters in their lifetime, or a data or security related disaster, or other disasters. And usually most SAP customers have taken precautions along the way with their own business continuity planning and testing to ensure their critical systems are always protected. If you do, given the extent of this situation, if you do have a team managing your critical business systems, and if there's any risk of business disruption due to systems, IT, or personnel reasons, then this is the time to make sure you have an alternative to be able to manage your systems. We are here, whether it's our recovery as a service solution, our FlexBridge digital transformation platform, our AppCare managed service platform, or any management tools that we offer. We're here to help no matter how urgent the situation is.
Fantastic. Binoy James, Senior Vice President of Delivery for Protera. Thank you very much for joining us today. Stay productive, but most importantly for you and your family, stay healthy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Jamie.
Absolutely. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. Stay tuned for our next video where our Senior Director of Managed Application Services joins us and gets a bit more technical on some reactive and proactive strategies that can be taken today. Thanks so much for watching, and everyone stay well.